Good starting point for the show.
Hey, this is a good starting point for the show, said Zach. And now that's why we're live on Sunday with the sports program with Derek and Zach. Sports on TSPN. We're available on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, sometimes FM radio, sometimes the TuneIn app.
We're on a lot of different stuff. Did you move our video to live?
Signals?
That still looks like it's not.
It is.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah,
we on
takes
now.
a second.
We good.
Takes a second. We are live at 1-ish. Hey, Damian Lillard got paid. We weren't talking about that right before we went live.
We do this all the time, you know that. Like, we talk about something, and then we basically have to rehash it out on the show like it's an original thought. But we had just got done talking about it, and the second time never comes off as good.
No, and it's so scripted. We try to recapture the same magic we just had.
Well, you know what's funny is other shows do script it. That's why they practice it beforehand. But I don't think that would ever work for us.
No, we're too cool for that. Hey, Damian Lillard got paid.
Hey, did you know that Damian Lillard got paid? I just looked at it.
Did we though? How much did he get?
196 milli
Woo!
over 4 years.
Love that money.
A lot of cheddar.
So he is how old? 20.
I think he's like 29.
Late 20s. So four-year deal pretty well solidifies him as a.
He's 28. Yeah,
28?
so he's 28. He's turning 29 in 2 weeks. So I had a feeling it was coming.
Sure. So that pretty much solidifies him as a career Blazer. I mean things could change after the 4 years, obviously, and people could play longer depending on how well they treat themselves. He seems to be one of them that treats himself very well. So he could play till whatever age he wants. But I do feel
this contract will be over when he's 33, though. So you locked him in for the rest of his prime.
That's
which is
right. And he has said that he wanted to be on the team for a career. I'm just saying if he contract expires in 4 years, he's 33. He'd probably go to, not as big of an extension at that point, but we pretty much got him. We got him forever now.
Nah, he's locked in, baby.
But they're looking at, what are they looking at? They're looking at trading away Harkless and Leonard. Fine.
Well, and they're letting, it's not that they're letting him go, but guy that got midway through the season should probably be leaving as well.
It is Cantor.
Cantor is looking at LA.
The Bulls are looking at him. The Bulls are doing some stuff, actually.
I don't know why the Bulls are looking at him. I believe they're like 3 of their last 4 lottery picks were either centers or power forwards.
Yeah.
Maybe they just want a veteran there, but I would say the strength of their team are their bigs. So I don't understand that. I don't think he goes to Chicago. Not if he wants to play.
I'd like to keep him, personally. I liked the guy. I think he did a good job.
Well, and Nurkic has been injury prone. Right. I wouldn't mind you guys keeping him either.
Yeah.
But if they can re-sign Myers Leonard, I think it really depends if Myers Leonard goes or stays.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
If Myers Leonard comes back and then you have Myers Leonard, Collins, and Nurkic, you don't need him.
Right.
But it looks like some people are going to move around, and I don't disagree with that because Mo Harkless has added value to himself.
Yeah.
As far as trade bait goes. But I think what we know is with the current roster as is, they're just not quite there.
Right. I liked the thing you sent me the other day. I love talk about bringing in Love. That'd be fun.
And why not?
Yeah.
And why not? Cleveland has no business with him at this point. I don't think they plan on competing in the East this year with their 2 up-and-comers being a first and second year, both point guard.
Yeah.
So I can see why him and J.R. Smith would both want out of there, and it looks like they're trying to work with J.R. Smith to trade him away as well.
Yep.
So those guys will actually hopefully be playing some meaningful basketball soon.
That'd be nice for them.
Because they are not going to be doing any of that in Cleveland.
What was your you had a good take a couple weeks ago. You didn't say it on the show. What was it? Lakers. Carmelo. I liked this actually. It was
Oh, so
your
yeah,
why not pick.
Yeah, it's my why not pick of the summer.
Like probably not, but why not?
I don't think probably not. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's going to happen at the beginning of free agency because the
Sure.
guy hasn't played basketball in almost the full season. But what I do think is I wouldn't be surprised if when the regular season starts to approach, Carmelo Anthony never announced his retirement.
No.
And a lot of people thought, well, why would the Lakers go after him? It didn't work with the Rockets, and the Lakers didn't go after him last year. I don't think Carmelo was ready for the bench role yet, which we saw in Houston, and that's why he left. But I also don't think he's ready to retire, which is why he hasn't announced his retirement yet. So what I believe is that he might, at this point now, if it's no basketball or a little bit of basketball, he's going to choose a little bit of basketball.
Yeah.
So I think he'd be willing to come off the bench in LA, and I do think it happens. It's my why not pick of the summer. Because why not go get him? If you can get a career all-time scorer, why not?
Yeah. And those two have wanted to play together for the longest time. So you finally give them that opportunity too. You give LeBron and Melo to be on the same team for even just a season. I love the idea, honestly.
Yeah, my only problem is that I mean, they're going to need bench scoring. So unless they put Kuzma off the bench, my biggest problem is like, where are they going to get any defense from? Like, I think Anthony Davis and LeBron are their two best defensive players and their two best offensive players. LeBron's past the point where he can play both at the same time.
Now they're still looking at D'Angelo Russell.
And I think that's officially going to happen. I think so. Let's get right into the free agency moves. The very first interview that Kyrie Irving is taking is with the Brooklyn Nets, and it looks like that is where he will sign a 4-year deal. So that being said, the Nets also decided to let D'Angelo Russell become an unrestricted free agent.
There you go.
Which means most certainly, at this point, we know Kyrie to Brooklyn and D'Angelo Russell to LA. And now, once again, those are just both speculations, but that's exactly what it looks like it's set up for.
Sure. And so Anthony Davis also waived. What did he waive off? $4 million, basically.
He basically got some sort of bonus because he got traded, and he waived it to make it so they could sign a max contract.
And that's pretty cool.
Which I don't know. I mean, maybe they know something we don't know, and there's another max contract guy who could come. But I think what they do is they get D'Angelo Russell for less than the max contract.
Yes.
Which actually means they can go get some defensive guys that aren't veteran minimums. Yeah. So maybe like a Danny Green of sorts. If the starting lineup for LA is D'Angelo Russell, Danny Green, Kyle Kuzma, LeBron James, and
Anthony Davis.
The Brow.
Yeah, the Brow.
Why would that not be the best starting five in basketball?
Oh man, that'd be yucky. I wouldn't want to watch them play the Blazers. Like I don't want to watch that game.
I mean, I would like to watch a team that actually plays defense play against them.
I do want to watch that too.
But I think that would officially rule Houston out of doing anything that can compete. This is what's interesting about Houston. Actually, we'll get into that in a second. We could stay on LA for a little bit.
Okay.
That is why the addition of Carmelo Anthony or someone like that would be important, because either Kuzma is going to have to be their scorer off the bench, or someone they're going to need to go find someone to lead that second unit, because their team is just loaded full of starters who like to have the basketball. It's going to be interesting. Like, are we going to get a Golden State scenario where they all find a way to get their points and they make it work? Or are we going to get something like Houston last year or OKC from the year before, where it's 3 isolation guys and there's just only one basketball? So,
no, it's a fair points and fair questions. I do like
Houston.
Let's move to Houston now. I do want to hear about that.
Because the talk is Jimmy Butler, right?
Right.
He will meet with Houston. He will meet with the Miami Heat.
Yes.
I think a lot of people think personality-wise he doesn't fit in Houston. And also it goes back to the whole...
Fit?
Huh?
Personality-wise, where does Jimmy Butler fit?
Miami, probably, where there's no one there
at
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. The real thing in Miami would just be like, does him and Spoelstra and Pat Riley all get along? It really doesn't matter about the other players.
Yeah.
That'd be an amazing move for Miami because they're going to get rid of. They have bad contracts. They are not a good team, and they pay a lot of guys too much money that don't deserve it.
Yeah.
They have bad aging contracts with like Goran Dragic and Hakeem Whiteside, and so I think this would be a huge move. Whoever they can make a trade for him. Houston, I don't think that would be smart for Philly if they do a sign and trade because that's what they say there. The only way Houston can make it work is a sign and trade. Is if Philly does give Jimmy the max contract but then trades him over is the only way that he actually contractually works in Houston.
Okay.
Which means they're going to have to give something up. And if I am the 76ers, I don't want anything that they're willing to give up. PJ Tucker is 34. Eric Gordon is 32. So Clint Capella, you already have a center in Joel Embiid who does so much more. So why take any of those guys? Just to help Jimmy Butler get out of town. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So,
yeah.
I guess the only benefit there is it would give you extra money to sign Tobias Harris, and then maybe someone like PJ Tucker or whatever allows you to say, like, yeah, we have a really good chance this year, but I think what they need to do is solidify themselves as the best team in the East for many years to come. And if that's the case, you just re-sign Jimmy Butler and keep him.
I just realized I have my air conditioner on. I just heard it. So, hey, everybody, listen to the show. Sorry you can hear my air conditioner, but I ain't turning that off.
That's
Hot
fine.
as
I didn't hear
balls in this town. No, I like that. Okay, so I want to know what are you most excited for free agency?
Like who going where?
Uh-huh.
Or speculation-wise?
Speculation-wise, who going where?
So let me just start by saying I don't like Jimmy Butler and I don't like Kyrie Irving. So these moves that are kind of going to happen quickly between these two. So some of the first moves that will happen are things that I don't care about.
Okay.
D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers is going to bum me out because I like D'Angelo Russell and I was glad when he got away from them. So nothing that's right on the horizon right now is anything that I am super excited for, but I am excited to see my own team and who we decide to keep or get rid of, because we have a few older guys that we could move on from, or we could keep the same team and try to keep them healthy. But trying to think, I was kind of excited to see that a team is taking a risk on Derrick Rose because he looks like he is signing with Detroit tomorrow. I think that's cool. So Derrick Rose to Detroit, which is cool because they also, if they re-sign Reggie Jackson, then they have a pretty good backup plan there. So I like that.
Rose had a nice little season. So that was kind of fun to see him have, kind of a nice little season, and then it'd be kind of cool to see him in Detroit, I think. Yeah,
but so things to look forward to, just because of the potential impact, good or bad, is obviously Kawhi and KD.
Yeah.
More Kawhi because he's healthy this season. And, man, I don't want him to come back to the West. The West is already very crowded. Yeah. I think him coming back over there makes it even harder for teams like Portland and San Antonio to get back in the playoffs this next year.
Kind of like our conversation last week,
Yeah, I mean, if he goes to the Clippers, one of us, or definitely the Utah Jazz, are screwed.
Well, don't forget OKC. I still think OKC's on thin ice, man.
I know people think that. You're not the only one who thinks that. But as long as you have Paul George, I feel the same way about Paul George that I not all the way, but close to how I feel about Kawhi Leonard. If you have Kawhi Leonard, your team's in the playoffs, no matter what team. If Kawhi Leonard went to any other team in the league, next year that team's a playoff team. Any other team in the league.
It's so funny because I love Paul George. I mean, I love him. I think he's a great player. He seems like a good dude.
Yeah.
And then you got the yin to his yang.
You just don't like Russell Westbrook, I think is what this is.
I hate him. No, I don't hate him, though. I love watching OKC and Golden State play. But, boy, those playoffs this year. Man, I hated that team. They were the most evilest team.
I will say once you see Russell Westbrook once in person and you're a fan of the other team, you will hate him. Because he's just barking the entire time.
Yeah.
I think the person that I went to a game with last wasn't very into basketball, and she just went, that guy seems like he's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
I was like, you want to know something? He is kind of a
He
jerk.
is.
But probably
Yeah,
only on the basketball court, and I actually really like his game, so I'm not the one to talk to
sure.
about that.
I also in some of his interviews, I actually do like some of the stuff from his interviews, even though like me, I like that though. Like the Greg Pop interviews,
Right.
the Bill Belichick interviews. Like I actually kind of like those.
When people are cold to the media.
I think it's funny and fun. So
yeah, except for Kevin Durant is like the one person who made it not fun. Like
yeah,
when he does it, it just kind of seems like a whiny little dude.
yeah, it is hard because he doesn't pull it off. Like Russell Westbrook is like after they lost one of those playoff games, he was great. He just got up.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, that's awesome. That's fun.
Well, so Kevin Durant doesn't pull it off, and nobody on the Houston Rockets pulls it off.
No.
Like all of a sudden, James Harden's always been a pretty decent post-interview guy. You got the meme where he like rolls his eyes and walks away.
Yeah, I love that meme so much.
But once him and Chris Paul started to get mad at the media for the refs sucking,
oh yeah,
like they were just blaming everything on the refs. I thought that wasn't very fun to watch.
No, it wasn't. That was hard.
That was hard. Oh, but back to Houston. I completely, as we tend to do.
Yeah. Back to
escaped the point there. They just, when you watch ESPN and they start to put like players on the board who could get traded and it shows their age next to it, and they showed the starting five for Houston, I go, I wouldn't want to go there. Like the youngest starter they have is 30 years old. If you're Jimmy Butler, I mean, unless you really want to push for one championship, and maybe that's what people are doing. Maybe people are like, hey guys, the Warriors are hurt. Like they might still re-sign KD and Clay. Why don't we just go somewhere very similar to what Toronto did last year and say we might not be able to make 2 runs, but let's make one really good run.
Yeah. I mean, because how much longer are you going to get out of Paul?
Yeah, I mean, this might be the last year to make a run, but people forget because they did come up short 2 years in a row.
It's true. People
forget the year before that. They didn't even make it to that point. Like the injured Spurs stopped them the year before that.
That's right.
I don't know if they're really the second best team in the West, regardless of Golden State's status. As far as who's actually coming back.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you got to have Portland in the talks. You got to have.
LA doesn't even have 5 people on their team, and they're already in the talks. That just shows how little faith people now have in Houston. No one's going, man, Houston has a really good chance. People go, well, we don't even know who's on the Lakers or the Clippers, but I think either team is going to win over the Rockets. Like that's how most people kind of feel at this point.
The Clippers, I'm going to be really interested in. I still think Kawhi's probably most likely going there. Although I have been seeing stuff, I don't know if it's just pure speculation or people trying to speak it into existence, but you do see a lot of Lakers talk, and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
He finally agreed to a meeting. The reason there wasn't a meeting beforehand, from what I understand, is that there was no meeting beforehand because the money was not there, and now the money is there, so now there's a meeting.
Oh, okay.
So there is a chance. There's also the speculation of now all of a sudden he's talking to Kevin Durant about the Knicks, which, if that happens, one, cool because he stays in the East, so I'm a little less bummed out about it.
Right.
But it just kind of blows up everything that we thought Kawhi was all about. Like he wanted out of San Antonio so he could go home to California. Then he went to Toronto, and then now he either might stay in Toronto or go to New York, which is very confusing for someone who is a San Antonio Spurs fan. It's like, you could have just stayed.
Yeah, you could.
That could have been our championship this year, and it really could have.
Yeah, absolutely. We just saw. We just saw how much it could have been. He's got Danny Green over there. He's got. That was basically the Spurs, just with different gear.
Yeah, the Toronto Spurs won a championship this year.
Yeah,
but it does not feel good at all, Derek. It doesn't feel good at all.
I imagine so. I'm seeing on here on the internet machine, that the Blazers are also interested in bringing Cantor back. So they're not just
Well, and
releasing.
that makes sense back
Yeah.
to what you said because
Yeah.
oh man, I think we just got interrupted on Facebook.
The
But
feed.
it goes back to what you said though because if Myers Leonard really is leaving, why would you not bring Cantor back? I guess that goes back to what both of us were saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Are we alive? Are we alive on Facebook or did we lose it?
it looks okay.
Okay. I got video interrupted, but I might have just gotten video interrupted because I'm doing a lot of junk over here.
It looks okay to me,
Beautiful.
but I don't know. It looks.
That's
okay.
beautiful.
It's beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful to me.
Love it.
Yeah. Boy, there's a
Oh
lot.
yeah, we're still going. We're going strong.
A
And
lot of
by
good
the way,
stuff. A lot of good stuff going on.
since you've been 50-50 screening this show, this is only beneficial to those watching on Facebook right now.
Sure.
But since you 50-50 just split us down the middle, man, we're popping.
Yeah. No, it looks so much better now with the 50-50 split.
Well, what's funny is so people don't realize this because you do fill in that space that you have in your shot with me. But I only see from my screen you on Skype, so I see you in the corner of the screen.
Sure.
And then just a wall full of stuff.
Yeah. Which we need to. I mean, we need to get some stuff down there. You know, we need to deck out that room you're in.
Oh, I know. I don't have like anything behind
Yeah,
me.
put
I
some
have
stuff
my
up.
Braves and my Falcons banners,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
you
don't
get
got
some-
anything else going on.
You get some.
I have a very big space. People don't realize that because they just see me in the corner here. But I have a gigantic room.
That's great. That's really
Well,
good.
It's nice. It's the
I
size
wish-
of an apartment, though.
And I wish this room was larger, but that'll be one day when we move and grow up and buy a house or whatever we do. That will be one of the things I invest in. Will be a nice large space for the podcast. I would like something. I mean, like a garage, like a shop, even. Like,
Man cave.
oh man, yeah,
See, what I would rather have.
basketball hoop indoors.
I was gonna say doing a show in a room this big actually is not great for sound.
No, I know. I'd have to figure out something shop size, for that. But
So since the show started, we are now officially, I think, like 39 minutes away from the beginning of free agency. Do you think there's anything that right away pops? Like, do you think there's a day one deal?
well,
And that being said, last year we knew because last year was midnight. They changed the deadline up to the daytime. That way we could follow it better.
Yeah.
But last year, Paul George signed right on the dot,
Yeah.
midnight Eastern time.
well,
So
I don't
is
think
there anyone this year?
I think Kevin Durant will stick with what he said. I think he will have a decision today. I think we'll know where Kevin Durant's going today. He's reportedly said that he will choose today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's on.
What do you think he chooses?
Okay. So this is on CBS Sports. Kevin Durant to make decision Sunday. Kyrie Irving commits to Nets. Kings covet Al Horford. I still don't know about the Nets.
Kings got Big Al.
That's who they want.
I think that's all they're missing. So
That'd be cool.
and we talked about it last week, but I think the Kings are right there,
Yeah.
on the cusp of getting in.
Well, they were.
But without Big Al, they're still 1 or 2 years away. With Big Al, I think they have a great chance to get in this year. Which then not only are the Jazz screwed, but someone else is screwed as well because we're gonna have to make room for also the Lakers.
So KD's tough though. He's tough because he's hurt. If he wouldn't have got hurt and they lost, I say he leaves. If he
Right.
wouldn't have got hurt and they won, I say he leaves. With the injury now though, I could see him staying. Staying at least another year.
Well, he's already ruled that out because he opted out of his 1-year extension.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So he's looking
Yeah.
for a 4-year deal somewhere.
Okay, so then
I
he'll
think
leave.
he could come back. I think he could come back because he doesn't want to leave on the way that he's going to if he does.
I mean, I would find it weird for him to go somewhere and then sit out the year. I know.
I don't know. He can recruit if he say he goes to the Knicks, not the Nets, but the Knicks. That gives him a year to recruit people from next year's free agency class.
That's true. Okay, so I'm gonna say most likely. I think he makes a decision today. I do think he sticks to that because why say it?
Right.
I think he. What do the bones say? I think he stays. I think he stays a Warrior. Golden State. He's gonna stick around.
All right.
He's gonna. If he wants to finish out, he doesn't just jump ship whenever he. Man, I don't know. It could be the Knicks. I mean, we've been saying Knicks all year, right? I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah, but the odds have dropped, and I think with this for sure lock on Kyrie signing in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I don't know. That really tempts me, but I think the Knicks. I'm gonna go with the Knicks.
Knicks, and
You're
he's their
saying he
star. They make playoffs. That our game we played last week. This time next year, he's working on getting more people. He'll be healthy. He's getting ready to play that. So that next year, so not this next season, but the season after, they make playoffs. Because he's recruited
for sure.
another.
If he's healthy, they make the playoffs in the East, no matter what team
right,
he's
but
on.
he also
goes
gets
back
somebody.
to that.
But he also gets somebody though. He goes to the Knicks over the next year. He recruits, like you said. This time next year, we're talking about how he's just like free agency. Next year, we're talking about how he's going to get somebody because he helped recruit him, and then they'll go to the playoffs.
So you know how he's doing this decision on his own network, right? That's how he's doing it. Sunday night, he's making a spectacle out of it. I don't think you make a spectacle if you stay. You don't go drum roll, please, and then it starts to go, and then you're like, and I'm staying.
And I'm staying, and I'm hurt for the year.
Yeah, so I just feel like no matter what, isn't it kind of weird that there's an announcement for a player who's not even going to play basketball?
Where's he from?
New York.
Is that why the Knicks are the big draw? People want him there. He's from there. It's kind of like Kawhi's from LA, right?
Well, he's from California.
From California.
I think he would be closer to San Diego originally.
Yeah, and Love's from Oregon. So I mean,
Love is from Oregon.
A lot of people want to go home. Didn't Love? He played for UCLA, right? So
he did play for UCLA.
Pac-12. He was in Pac-12. I know that. He was good.
So actually, Kevin Durant was born in Maryland, but I think he played high school basketball in New York. I think that's how that happened.
So there you go. He wants to go home. He goes home, Zach. That's my call. He's gonna go to the Knicks tonight on his network, live on the Kevin Durant Network.
Or there's this big drum roll, and he goes absolutely nowhere.
He retires. No.
Yeah, just kidding. I don't want to play basketball anymore.
Oh my God. I want to do Space Jam 3.
Yeah, we're going to make Space Jam 3 at the same time Space Jam 2 is going to be made, and it's going to be a better movie.
Currently filming Space Jam 2, though. That is cool. Anthony Davis. Who else was on that? I saw Draymond Green.
Klay Thompson.
Yes, Klay Thompson. I believe I saw Draymond Green.
He's not one of the Monstars.
No, but he's in the movie, I think.
Oh, I think there's going to be quite a few basketball players who...
I think it'll be like Space Jam 1 where they have like cameos and stuff from other people that are not one of the Monstars.
I agree with that.
So, I thought it was interesting because Draymond Green's in it, and I just don't, does he actually not like LeBron at all, or is he just a turd?
Well, so no, he was on The Shop, LeBron's HBO show, and they seem like they get along just fine.
He's just a competitor and
he's just a turd.
That's just what you got to do anyway.
Yeah, I think that's just who he is. I think
a young
they
Zach
all have
Collins
some sort of respect for each other. Or right before and right after they were done filming, they were both like, "Hey, go fuck yourself." And
well,
then they went and made television.
So there was LeBron on his Instagram posted a thing about, it was like the Sports Illustrated from forever ago, with him on there, his first season, and it said, "Is LeBron James overrated?" And then Kevin Durant commented on it, or not Kevin Durant, Draymond Green commented on it. And he's like, "Well, isn't he?" or some shit like that. I was like, "You're a dick." Did you win?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, God, Hate that guy. But also I like him. No, it's not. He's not on my team, so I have to hate him. I would take Draymond on the Blazers. I would take him.
Anyone would take him on their team. He's a great guy to have on your team. He's just one of those guys that if he's not on your team, you just hate his guts.
Yeah. Same with Russell Westbrook, though.
Yeah, if he was on your team, you'd probably like him a
lot.
lot.
I'd love him. I mean, I do like him. I do actually like him when he's playing other teams. When they're playing the Warriors, I love that rivalry. I like both of those teams about the same.
Yeah.
When they're playing, I think OKC and San Antonio are a fun series.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think OKC and the Lakers were fun a couple times this year. Yeah.
Hey, we didn't talk about this yet.
No, we didn't.
Someone who actually made a decision already. Kemba Walker is a Celtic now.
Yes, he is.
In case people really just wanted the nail in the coffin that Kyrie is not coming back.
Kemba Walker, and that was quick.
Dude is getting paid finally. He said he was willing to take less from Charlotte. Maybe they just let him go. Maybe they realized, like, you cannot be average every year in a small market. If you're average every year, you don't suck enough to get good draft picks, and you're not a big enough market to talk in good free agents.
Right.
Like, Michael Jordan's never been able to pull in any good free agent, and then he's also been terrible. The whole organization's been terrible at drafting since Kemba. So
yeah.
And the only reason Kemba worked is just because he was like a shoo-in at that spot during the draft. So they kind of just took the guy they had to, and it worked out finally. But
and then with Al Horford going, that'll be nice for that team too. I like Al Horford, but he was kind of,
I don't know.
He was kind of cantankerous this last season.
I think it's just such a fall from where everyone expected them to be so fast. Like this time last year, I think everyone but maybe me was saying they're going to win the East. Like everybody, it was like, oh, Boston's winning the East, no question about it.
I think we at least didn't want Kyrie to come back. I wanted to see what they had without him. But the
problem is I think they've now, with the addition of Kemba, they're also going to lose Terry Rozier and no Al Horford. Just a lot of what makes this team work is gone.
Yeah.
So now their three best players are basically all carbon cutouts, position-wise, of the same person.
Yeah.
Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Hayward are all like the same height wing players.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to have to do something with that. One of them's probably getting traded. That's my speculation.
I just think, so the year Hayward got hurt, year before, I was excited for the team. I was excited to have Kyrie on the team initially. That was a good season. That was a fun season.
They made a lot out of nothing that season, and I think it just really overhyped that team.
That was also like on top of them trading away, to get Kyrie, they got rid of Isaiah Thomas, which I was irritated about. Because he was like their darling. He should have been their star.
And now, think about it now. Like,
yeah,
they would have competed just as much with him and Terry Rozier this last season.
Yeah.
That they already did. So Kyrie's still now gone. So what was that really for?
Yeah. What was the point? And now poor Isaiah Thomas doesn't have anything. He does. What was he on the Nuggets?
Yeah, but they weren't playing him.
They didn't play him at all. Although it's kind of funny, so I know he went to the Lakers, before the Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
And then, LeBron goes to the Lakers, and then IT's gone.
Oh, yeah. They went to two of the same teams together.
I was kind of excited to see, remember when IT went to the Cavs, I was excited to see what could happen there with him and
LeBron.
Dwayne Wade and LeBron. I was kind of initially, Kevin Love, initially excited to see if there could be anything there with that. With Dwayne Wade off the bench, I liked that. But boy, that was bad.
I don't know how people don't see that as a red flag, though, because Isaiah didn't fit in, Dwayne Wade didn't fit in, and they said, well, that's because of his age then. But then he went back to Miami and was spectacular this season off the bench.
Yeah.
And Then this year, with all of the young players in LA, just seemed like they didn't necessarily mesh with his game either. I don't know
Yeah,
how people aren't a little hesitant
I
about
know.
playing with LeBron James's style currently.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the draw. Honestly, I think the draw of LA though right now is not necessarily LeBron. I think it's what we talked about last week, which is if you go to LA right now, there is the chance that you could go to the playoffs and maybe even win a championship, and you get to play with LeBron James. A lot of these people grew up probably a huge fan. So, okay, so there's that. There's that draw. Also, if you go to LA, you only have to outlast him by a couple
Well,
years.
yeah, it's the draw of like after LeBron's no longer the first or second best player on the team, it's you and Anthony Davis in LA,
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
that's what I mean. Like, you only have to outlast LeBron a little bit. Uh, a few years. I mean, I think he can play till he's 40. I think that's what he wants to do, and I think he can. I just think he'll he showed age. He showed age this year. He finally got hurt. We've talked about how he's never really been hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he finally got hurt, and they didn't look the same. And that was an interesting push they did before he got hurt. That they actually came out over 500.
Number 4 in the West when he got hurt. Yeah.
And they were doing good. In fact, I was like, prior to him getting hurt, that Christmas Day. I was like, man,
Yeah.
this team, this could be it. He's working with these young guys. He's doing it. Okay, but nope. As soon as he got hurt, man, that fell apart, and it wasn't because the other guys in the team are so bad. They didn't have him, and they just needed him to come back so badly. He also just wasn't. He wasn't good to them. He wasn't good to them while he was hurt. He wasn't a leader. He wasn't a coach. Remember, he's sitting away from them on the bench. He's being a prick. I mean,
well,
essentially.
in retrospect, it kind of seems like he knew what was going to happen all along, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like, why be nice to these kids? They're fucking gone.
Yeah. So I'm trading them away.
They don't know it yet, but the day I came here, they were gone.
And Luke Walton, that was a shame. Good for the Kings.
Oh yeah, I think the Kings really won this offseason with all the stuff that they've just acquired from these other teams letting go.
Luke Walton's a great pick, and
potentially,
potentially, and then Magic, that whole thing. I mean, it just shows. I mean, they couldn't get Zach. They couldn't get Ty Lue. How do you screw that up if you can't even get Ty Lue? Who has coached LeBron before him? He's white noise enough to just have him there, and somehow even he and them could not make a deal happen. Something's wrong there. Who'd they get?
Yeah.
Do they even have a coach yet?
Vogel, former Indiana coach, and I think a lot of people are kind of shitting on that, but I think they're going to be just fine with it.
Sure.
They're 24 hours away from us praising them, potentially. Sure. So
I hope
we're one day away from being either extremely right or extremely wrong about a lot of teams.
I hope it's a big Cleveland Browns mess up, honestly. Just for the fun, just for the lulz. Just the memes, That'd be cool. Speaking of memes, pretty soon here we will start talking football again. I am actually getting more and more excited every week because there are so many really cool things that are going to be happening this season. So, the listeners of the show, we will be putting together our preseason picks here pretty soon. In July at least.
Absolutely, it's time. We're due.
Yeah, and there are so many potential cool things that could be going on, and so many stories out of the NFL right now that I am absolutely excited to see. The NBA has done a great job of hijacking the entire summer after it's a thing. Wow, it never used to be like that, and good job to them. Because just like last year, we were talking about the NBA in June. The end of June. That's awesome. They've crushed it.
Well, you know what I'm excited for?
What's that?
Worst to first.
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely.
Well,
Which
and
that
I
might
do
be
believe one of our worst to first picks last year
was
made the playoffs, it being the Houston Texans.
yes. Uh. Also, I'm pretty sure we hit Cleveland right on the head. I'm pretty sure we said that almost exactly how they've turned out. Were they about 8-8, about 500?
I mean, yeah, we were pretty close, but I don't think that was a crazy thing to speculate. Like they improved, but not by too much.
Right. I think this season they improved more.
Oh, absolutely, but I don't think they. I'm not anointing them the new division champs
No,
just yet. We'll get there. We'll get there when it's
we
time.
will. I'm still gonna go with my bias on that one. I'm still taking Pittsburgh on that though. Absolutely.
I'm probably with you.
I don't. In fact, I think it's better that Antonio Brown is gone
Mm-hmm.
because now, whatever, give it to Juju more. I like what's it, Schwitzer,
Mm-hmm.
McDonald. You may use that tight end. I love that. Tight end's probably one of my favorite positions right now in football. Just fun position. Chippy, tough, good stuff. Okay. Yesterday, AEW. I want to tell you the name of the pay per view now.
Yes,
AEW
I
pay per view.
avoided it somehow.
Okay. The AEW pay per view was on yesterday, and it was Fighter Festival, FYTER, and it was orange logo, and they had the same logo from the Fire Fest. Do you remember the Fire Fest debacle?
Mm-hmm.
That what was it? Ja Rule and that other guy. It was supposed to be in the Cayman Islands or whatever, Bahamas, and it
Yes.
ended up being just a train wreck. Have you seen the documentaries about it at all?
Yeah, there's two. There's
There's
a
two, and I
Hulu
watched.
one and a Netflix one.
No, I've watched both. Because I was just so interested in it in general. The pay per view was Fighter Fest, and
Yeah, I'm looking at the logo right now. It is spectacular.
it's not good. That's great. Dude, Cody Rhodes, man, good pay per view overall. Here's a couple criticisms would be that I just don't know. I don't know any of the wrestlers. I'm not a big indie market guy. So while I'm still learning who these people are, like a lot of them, I don't know who a lot of them are. They're big in Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So the wrestling is huge, but the gimmicks, I don't know them. So it's like watching two strangers, pretend. But really fun pretending. There was one big botch that I wanted to talk about on the show. This is why I'm actually bringing this up. One big botch where Cody Rhodes took a chair shot to the head. I think I read this morning the chair was supposed to be like a gimmick chair that breaks easily. It did not. It took a big old chunk out of the back of his head. He's obviously hurt. Oh, dude, the dude is like spitting. Like he was just like drooling. It was incarnate what you would see from like CT from a concussion. I mean, it was hard to watch. So I'm wondering now. So the WWE has the big like concussion protocol stuff. They're not allowed to take direct chair shots to the head anymore. They've completely banned that. This new wrestling AEW is supposed to be like Attitude Era come back, and Zach, let me tell you, they were flipping people off and doing some stuff. It was definitely PG-13 or a little higher, which was kind of cool.
Ooh.
It was, yeah. One of the guys, he came out to the ring, and the crowd was saying, "You suck, you suck, you suck," and he said, "Well, your mom of who you live in the basement of, she swallows." And I was like, "What?" And I lost my shit. I couldn't believe he said that. Could
That's
not
amazing.
believe it. Loved it. And then they didn't blur it. There was flip offs and like Stone Cold type stuff. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I like that. So, edgier, sure, love it. TNA tried that too back in the day. Like, don't go nuts with it. Don't bring in Hulk Hogan. Leave him out forever. Here's the thing. This edgier new wrestling they took that chair shot. I'm wondering now, you probably already got to ban it, huh? But they got to do it. They got to
Right
ban
off
it.
the bat.
They got to ban it. They got to get rid of it already. You be edgy. Please be edgy. But as I've grown, I have grown to not like that stuff. In fact, even no, I'm sorry. Money in the Bank, as you know, and as a lot of our listeners know, Money in the Bank is my absolute favorite pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
I mean, it is so fun. However, when I do watch some of the stunts they do, I do seriously cringe and I do worry for them. Having watched wrestling my whole life, and now that we're out of the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era, we're almost in the reality era where we have such a glimpse into the back room and we have such a, like, their social media and we get to know them as people. I get a little scared for them. I don't want people to break their backs and get concussions. So, seeing that last night on this new edgy one, while I liked how edgy it was fun. It was kind of reminding me of old wrestling.
Yeah.
But that chair shot, that wasn't fun. That wasn't fun to watch. It wasn't fun to see. Which is insane because I watched The Rock beat in Mankind's skull with a chair like 20 years ago. I didn't bat an eye. So maybe...
Yeah, they didn't fake it so good back then. They just went for it.
Yeah. So have I grown? Has the other audience members grown? I've seen stuff online. What do you think? You watch somebody take a chair shot to the head, how do you feel? I mean,
I'm like, that's what you get for doing it.
Sure, yeah. But
I don't know. I'm a monster.
Sure. But
I'm like, you went for it.
Yeah, you certainly did, didn't you? I mean, yeah.
But but think about it. If you think about a movie,
yeah,
even like the stunts that aren't real stunts, like the ones where it's completely safe and like they're like attached to something that protects them, they still bring in a stunt actor to do it because the risk still exists.
You're right. These guys are basically higher paid
They're their own
stunt
stuntman, which means that the chances of it going wrong exist, and they signed up for it.
Yeah, it's bizarre. You're absolutely right. I watched this thing called Botchamania. This is why I wanted to talk to you about this. I don't know if have you ever heard of Botchamania, or have I mentioned it to you?
Mm-mm.
Botchamania is this little British guy named Matthew who takes like WWE, AEW, and then a bunch of like indie circuits. So, two, like one really high paying one second high paying one, and a bunch of not paying ones very well. And he cuts together all of these like botches, like moves that were not executed well. And I mean, Zach, you're watching a wrestling match take place in a high school gymnasium, and people are undoubtedly breaking their fucking neck. and they're just dying, and they probably made $100. They don't have health insurance. They don't.
Yeah, not a single person who's doing that has health insurance, and nor should a health insurance company provide them health insurance if they know they're doing that.
No. Why would you do that? So it was you got it. If I could find they're always funny, and they put them to like really good like music, like kind of like video game sounding music. They're really funny videos. If I find one that's really good, I'll send it to you so you can see it. But it's called Botchamania. Listeners, go find Botchamania. They are so funny. They'll also work in like podcasts and stuff where like wrestlers are talking about botches, and then they show the botch as they're talking about it. So it'll be like a clip from like Talk is Jericho, and then they'll show the incident as the person's talking about it. Like Matthew will cut it together and put that together for the watchers. So it's pretty cool. The guy's got obviously a ton of time. I think he's British, so he's always at the UK wrestling events, which, again, no health insurance for those wrestling gents. Although in British, maybe does their universal healthcare cover wrestling incidents. I don't want to be taken to the hospital wearing tights, Zach. Okay? I don't want
Yeah.
them to see my Ultimate Warrior face paint and my
But
tights.
that's like a dream scenario for me. It's
Yeah.
just to know that someone went to the hospital wearing that.
I always wanted to be a wrestler, but I wanted to be. The reason why I like wrestling is because I wanted to be a wrestler. I think every kid at some point, if you watch wrestling, was like, I would like to be a wrestler. Like, I'm not near along the lines of like Dusty, but like I want. If you asked me in 8th grade what I want to do when I grew up, and I was like, oh, I want to be a wrestler. That was during Attitude Era. It was like the height of WWE. But I want to be a wrestler like the ones back in the days, like the Vern Gagne days, like where I'm still just my weight and I wear like the undies up to above my belly button, and just like boots, and then I'm like, like I'm the trash man or whatever Danny DeVito does, and
Oh my God, yes, the trash man.
yeah, or just something like that. Like I still wanted to be like Earthquake and Typhoon. I was like, you could be a fat wrestler. I want to be Earthquake or Typhoon, bro. I want to be Vader. Vader was kick ass. But then I watched those guys wrestle and they're like doing moonsaults. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. Never mind. I don't want to be a wrestler anymore.
That's fine.
I don't want to break my neck and get addicted to painkillers and then have my heart explode when I'm 41. Pass. Hardy pass to everyone.
That's a hard pass.
Anyway, AEW, believe they are getting a TV contract soon. I cannot remember who it's with, but I believe it's with Turner. So TNT, TBS, one of those. I believe Turner. Yes, you're hearing me right. Turner, who had WCW, has signed with AEW. Turner is getting back into the wrestling business. Holy crap.
That makes sense because they're the ones who signed ONE FC. So the guys who went and got Mighty Mouse Johnson from the UFC in that trade with Ben Askren, and they're the ones really trying to push as being like the new number 2 or number 3. They're trying to like instantly pass Bellator as the second option for UFC. So what they do is they stream, because a lot of ONE FC takes place in Japan. So it's like, if you want to stream it on TNT, it's not going to be live. They're going to like replay it the next day at 7 o'clock. That way we can watch it and pretend it's live. But really the results are already happened. So what they do is they partner with Bleacher Report, which is what
AEW is also
that's what they do.
Yeah.
That way, like, no matter where the event takes place, you can watch it live on Bleacher Report. But then it makes sense to have it where someone can go DVR it and watch it like when they want to, and still have that type of U.S. revenue to where they're making that advertising money and stuff. So I think that's a great idea. I don't think it's going to tank. I don't think ONE FC is really taken off for TNT, but I think because it is in Japan and we know it's not live and we know we can just check the results on our phone, but I think this will be a much better result.
The smartness would be to stay away from Monday nights. Don't do what WCW did back in the day. Try not to compete. TNA did that a few years ago back while TNA... Do you remember TNA, this thing that does not exist anymore, basically? I mean, I
remember it, but I wasn't into it.
They're on Impact, but I don't even know what channel that's on anymore, if it's even on channel TV anymore. Like, that's how dead it is now. I mean, once Sting comes to the WWE and goes to the Hall of Fame, that's the dude you have. I mean, they don't even have Jeff Hardy anymore. He's back on WWE. They don't have... Bobby Roode, like they lose. AJ Styles was their biggest name. Like, they suck. Anyway, Impact is gone, but they tried competing on Monday nights like WCW did, and it died. I mean, it died horrendously. But AEW, like WWE is currently suffering ratings, and this is like coming up is this deal right for October for them to be on Fox, for SmackDown to be on Fox, and they're like having some ratings issues right now. Did you see who they recently have brought in to be like not kayfabe like managers of both shows? Did you see that news? Mm-hmm. SmackDown, Vincent Kennedy McMahon has hired Eric Bischoff to head up SmackDown. And I thought, oh, well, I mean, that'd be interesting to see him on TV again. Nope, I read it wrong. Apparently, he's not planning on being on TV. He's actually was for real no shit hired by WWE to work with the Fox network and make sure everything goes well with that, and like head up creative and stuff. Like he actually is not. It's not kayfabe. He's not hired on to be a part of the storyline. He's actually was given a job with the company and is like gonna oversee that. Then for Monday Night Raw, they hired one too. They hired Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's actually taking over the Raw show. Now he'll be on it a little bit because he's still like Brock Lesnar's like mouth or whatever.
Right. Yeah,
his
exactly.
mouthpiece. But again, apparently they have no desire to put him as like, you know, the bad guy manager or the commissioner like they used to do back in the day. Like these guys were actually just hired to run these.
Right. They hired the real person, not the character.
Yeah. And I think I actually like both hires. It's smart. I think they know AEW is going to compete. I don't think AEW is going to beat WWE by any means. But I do think if they don't go on the same nights, you don't watch Bellator doesn't schedule pay-per-views the same night as UFC.
I mean, they have, but there's a reason they're on Fridays instead of Saturdays,
right.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of wrestling for everyone to watch. So if they would go between Monday and Friday, because I think Friday was when SmackDown's supposed to be on Fox. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because there's nothing else on. Right. Because we've talked about that. You can just flip through your channels. And if wrestling's the only thing on, why would you watch anything else over wrestling? Like, I'm not going to watch a rerun of that Tim Allen show.
Right, but that's also going to be on.
Well, yeah, it'll be the bookend. It'll be Last Man Standing, followed by wrestling, followed by reruns of Big Bang Theory, undoubtedly. Fucking Big Bang Theory, you know?
Yep, forever in syndication.
That's our wrestling news for the week. If you get a chance, don't go watch The Botch. It's actually really hard to watch. I'm not like, I don't know. I think you're the same way. You don't go rewatch injuries and shit, do you?
Never have. Nah. I don't do it for sports or anything else. I don't care to see it. Yeah. So, Kevin Durant just signed with Brooklyn.
Wow.
Yep, announced it basically on the dot.
I'm glad that I was able to keep the show going with wrestling talk so that you could come back with some relevance.
And back to sports.
Kevin Durant.
No, that was good.
Kevin Durant is a Brooklyn Net.
It almost looks like we planned it. You know what I mean? Like you just like, we're like, oh, I actually ran out of wrestling stuff like 5 minutes ago, but
I did.
But I didn't really because I knew this was going to happen. Yeah.
I think Dusty and I are still talking about it. One more thing on wrestling. Dusty and I are still talking about it. We just got to find the time. We would like to and we want to eventually start a wrestling podcast. It will happen. Just got to find the time and the, you know how time is with the show, even.
Oh, and the Bucks re-signed Robin Lopez.
Ooh.
Brooke Lopez. Excuse me.
That's the rest of wrestling. Kevin Durant is a Net. Not a Nick. I was wrong. Glad I got to correct myself on the same show. What does that mean then? D'Angelo Russell? Think he stays?
No, Russell has to be gone because they're also getting Kyrie. And they already let D'Angelo Russell out of... They made him a non-restricted free agent. So here's the difference real quick. For those who do not know, a restricted free agent means, yes, they can get signed by another team, but you have the ability to match that other team's offer on the dot, and you get them instead because you technically have rights because they are unrestricted or restricted. When they are unrestricted, it means that you are letting them go, and you would have to offer them, or they would have to choose you for the same amount or more.
Oh, wow.
So D'Angelo Russell, they gave him the choice by letting him become an unrestricted free agent, which basically is them saying, we don't want him. It's already been announced they plan on offering Kyrie like 4 years, $140 million, and he plans on signing that today.
Yeah, I see. Kyrie commits to Nets. I see that here. So Kyrie and Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. Wow. Jay-Z, you're an idiot for selling your share in that company. Didn't he sell it? Didn't he sell it?
Oh yeah, he doesn't own it anymore, I don't believe.
You dumbass, Jay-Z.
I think he's doing fine.
No, he's broke now because he sold it. Because he sold it. No Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
Oh man.
Kevin Durant's going to turn the franchise around. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Kyrie can do with what the rest of that team has. So it's Kyrie and Jared Allen moving into this season.
That's insane.
It'll be interesting to see if Kyrie by himself can get them into the playoffs, and then if he does, and I mentioned this last week, would any of these teams, if he went to the Knicks, he would have sat out the whole time no matter what, because they're not trying to make a playoff push, they're trying to tank. But now he's going to Brooklyn. They make a playoff push. If he comes back healthy, even if they're the 7 or 8 seed, they can make a run all the way to the championship from that spot.
Yeah, you're right. So you say KD sits out the entire season up to the playoffs. Just gets healthy.
Yes, but this is what this also means, because there was talks about KD talking to Kawhi and either talking him into the Knicks or them going to the Clippers together. Maybe this also means he knows for sure that Kawhi, one, was never interested in the Knicks. We know that, duh. But does it also mean that he is not planning on going to the Clippers?
Ooh, good speculation. Good wild speculation. No, that's a good one. I like that.
I'm interested. I think
you're like friggin' Sherlock Holmes over here.
It's elementary, my Emma Watson. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. I didn't see that coming. That was good. That was very good.
Yeah, thanks for jokes that I remember from Workaholics from 7 years ago. Yeah. Still...
They always
been alive for 29 years and still don't have a goddamn original joke.
That's great, though. I mean, that's still they managed to find their way into a conversation at least once a week with us.
Oh, for sure. And then I still meet people that go, you know, that show wasn't very good, or they've never seen it, and I'm just like, you're all wrong.
The first 5 seasons are brilliant.
Yeah, but if you try to show a human adult that show now. They make it through like half of the first episode, and they're like, "Wow, they say tight butthole a lot."
Well, yeah, I'd say that one. I'd say that one, and Broad City too. Like, if you just try to show somebody Broad City, it's too batshit. But
yeah, I don't know though. If I show a lady Broad City, they're like, "Yes, why did I not watch this before?"
I love that show.
I fucking two of the greatest characters on television.
I also think
R.I.P. to both those shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, but anyways, I think that starts a lot of dominoes right there.
I think
Kevin Durant
too.
Right off the bat.
Also, you should watch Detroiters. I want to throw that out there real quick. You need to watch Detroiters. It's funny.
You got me into that by sending me a clip of it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Tim Robinson.
Okay, so what this means to me before we end the show, we're gonna end the show, right?
Yes, we are.
Before we end the show, if Kawhi stays in the East, I say this right now: the East and the West are even.
Ooh. Yeah.
Because in the East, we got better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Would you say that there's been balance restored if Kawhi stays?
The balance has been restored to the Force. And not only that, but it's probably never been balanced to begin with. No. Except for, like, Michael Jordan was so good that the Bulls made it balanced. But... if Kawhi stays in Toronto, we have a completely balanced East and West. If not, if you include Philadelphia, there's 4 top dogs in the East that might be better than any team in the West with Golden State not healthy. So actually, the balance has not been restored. The balance has shifted if Kawhi stays.
Well, we'll see. When do you think Kawhi chooses? Today?
He can take his time. But I think even though they're going to speculate him taking his time, I think we know today.
Okay. Well, check it out, everybody. Make sure you keep an eye out. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at QuackSwan, at Derek on TSPN, and Sports and TSPN. I also believe TSPN Network is a thing. TSPN Media, sorry. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to all of your friends, and find us on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all that jazz. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. We will see you again next Saturday, where Zach and I will be doing a live show together.
And I get to make my pick for UFC 239, which will be that night. It is an absolutely stacked card. I cannot wait to talk about it.
And we get to watch some Summer League that weekend as well.
Because it starts on the 1st.
Exciting. Very good.
Yes.
Was that tomorrow or was that the next day?
I think it's tomorrow, but actually I think the Vegas Summer League doesn't start till that weekend. It's just we have a few games in Utah starting tomorrow.
All right, everybody. Well, have a great weekend.